from the Eccentric Man, and I thought I'd do something a little different. It's a painting tutorial on how I painted up the Brightspears Tower. This is from Fenris Games, and I've painted it up for the Paint-Halloween. Yeah, that's it. It was a little contest on the Twitters and Facebook for September, and I've painted it up, and I'll tell you how I did it. So first up, let's have a look at the paints I used for the walls. So we got the pale camo, Morgar's bone, Rakaf flesh, Zandri dust, Talon sand, screaming skull, Panzer old wood, and the off-white. So those were the base for the stones. The door I painted up with the Panzer Aces wood and plaint mail, and a bit of black, which I haven't put on here, but I did use that for undercoating the door metal work, and soft tone, and I used soft tone for the whole of the building itself. The base I used good old favourite, the Vallejo texture, earth texture, then gave it a good dry brush of Zandri dust, followed by a good dry brush of Iraqi sand, and the Morgar's bone I used on the path. Well, my first recommendation would be to prime it in either GW, that's Games Workshop, Zandri dust, or use the Humbrol dark brown, although that might be a little bit dark. I didn't have those available, I just had my Halford's grey primer, so that's what I used. I started picking out random blocks, and I used the Rakov flesh, the Morgar's bone, and the pale camo brown to do that. I used old wood on the door and the lintel above it, and also on the top of the building itself. I then went on with Zandri dust and also the Talon sand, because that's a slightly more yellow than the Zandri dust. I used the Templar's black contrast paint from Games Workshop for the metalwork on the door, prior to giving it a little dry brush with the plate mail army painter. As you can see, that's how we are looking now. Did all that, and your next thing up was to give it a wash, and I like to use soft tone, and that will fill all the little bits that I've missed with the paintbrush, and it will start to bring all the stones in together. But it does bring in the Talon and the Zandri dust a bit too close for comfort. And you can see it does dull down quite a lot of the other colours. So the key thing is now to go back and to build it up with some height. So first off, a dry brush with Iraqi sand, and then with Screaming Skull. And then what I did was I went back over the isolate colours, the Rakov flesh, the pale camo, and the Morgar's bone, and mixed in the off-white to make them lighter. And then again, just going over them to make them stand out and look a little bit different to the Zandri dust and the Talon sand. And that's really how it came out in the end, as you can see here. I got a nice little mix of the stone, and I thought it blended it in really nicely. At the top, it washes out the shadow, but what we've got is the old wood and just a dry brush over with a highlighted colour of it. I applied a dry brush of Iraqi sand over the Zandri dust, and then a little bit of the Screaming Skull to bring it up a little bit brighter. The green you can see there is the Mediterranean ready base from Geek Games. You can find them on the internet. You just sprinkle it on, and it's got little rocks in it, and it's got the flock for the brightness. It's a Mediterranean mix. And then I added some 6mm and 10mm tufts. And that was it. And there's the finished model. It'll do a number of scenarios and a number of different periods. So, yeah, looking forward to getting the use out of it. A nice way of doing variegated stone. And you could change it with different coloured greys, to give you that more grey look for stonework. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Gives you some ideas what to do. Give it a thumbs up if you do, and share it and subscribe and hit that notification button. And see you soon to the next one. Take care.